Hey guys, Kotezi here, also known as Dirty Avocado on the trail. Today I'm going to be making a video showing you what I wore on the Pacific Crest Trail last year. I'm going to show you everything that I wore, including, of course, my everyday hiking outfit, along with base layers, puffies, jackets, stuff like that. I'll also show you some things that I picked up along the way and that I shipped back home depending on the different section of trail. With this video, I'm gonna obviously talk about the pros and the cons of each piece of clothing slash gear and the reasons why I ditched a lot of the things that I initially started with on the trail. I'm also gonna go ahead and try and find links and put them in the description down below where you can find these pieces of clothing for yourself. So the first thing is the shorts that I wore on the trail. I think the brand is Saucony and they're a women's small. I actually picked these up about 2 years ago before the John Muir Trail in 2016, and I liked them so much then that I decided to wear them on the PCT. So the main reason why I love them is because they're so flowy and airy and just comfortable to wear. The material is like a super soft kind of velvety feel. It's gotten even better with the use and the wear that is on them. They have a built-in liner, so that's pretty convenient if you like that. But overall, just like really comfortable. You barely feel like you're wearing anything. That's kind of what I like to aim for. I don't want to feel constricted or weighed down when I'm hiking. Next is my hiking shirt. So this shirt was basically my main hiking shirt. I did pick it up on day 3 of the trail. I started out with something else, which I'll talk about later on in this video. But I picked it up in day 3 and hiked all the way to Ashland in Oregon with it, which is around mile 1680-ish. I love this shirt. I've actually gotten a lot of questions on my Instagram, people wanting to know what the brand of the shirt is. So the name of the shirt is a Coolie Bar. It's a women's small, and it's got UPF 50 for sun protection. It runs a little bit on the larger side. If you don't like that and you want it to be a little bit more fitted, I would kind of size down from your regular shirt size. Love the texture, it's so soft. Doesn't feel like you're wearing something synthetic, but it is 100% polyester. It's got a breathability here in the back, and it's also has little holes here in the armpit area all the way down to your, like halfway down your torso. It's got a little pocket on this side, which I didn't really use much, but if you do like pockets on your shirt, then that would be convenient because it doesn't have any pockets in the chest. Overall, a really solid shirt for the desert and the whole PCT basically. Yeah, I guess the main reasons why I love the shirt was because it breathes really well and it just feels really comfortable day in and day out. I'll go ahead and find the Amazon link for this and put it in the description so you can check that out if you want to. I want to talk about my base layer. So this is a Montbell Montbell lightweight shirt, I think they call it. I really like this base layer. I picked this up in Lone Pine before entering the Sierra. So overall, Montbell stuff tends to run on the smaller side. So this is a medium, but it kind of feels like an extra small, which I kind of liked as a base layer. But the sleeves are actually pretty sufficiently long, so I really like the overall fit of this. The texture is great. The materials they use helps to maintain body heat, but also sheds moisture super efficiently. And I definitely noticed that on the trail I had other base layers starting out, which I'll talk about in just a little bit, but this was my go-to. I'll definitely wear this on future trips if I feel that a base layer is necessary. Next, my puffy. So this one is the Montbell UL Parka. It's 100% synthetic. The texture on it is like a nice matte, so it's not like this plastic bag, like shiny, nylon-y type material that I've talked about in my What's in My Pack video. I hate gear that has that material for some reason. Yeah, this jacket is so good. So it's not as light as down, obviously, but for a synthetic, it's pretty light. It feels really light when you're wearing it. It's super breathable, but for all that breathability, it actually gives you like a sufficient amount of warmth. I'm really impressed with this jacket overall. I wore it in the Colorado Rockies in the middle of December. I even climbed a 14er in Colorado with this jacket and it performed pretty well. And also I'm super impressed about the water repellency of this jacket, and I was able to truly test that in Washington. So yeah, this is a jacket you can actually be active effective in hiking and be comfortable while doing that. A little bit about the fit, I'll show you here. Like, when you put on the sleeve, this wrist area here is so slim fitting, it almost kind of feels like you're just wearing a sweater. So I kind of like that. I don't like stuff bunching up. It's got an adjustable waist cord here at the bottom, which you can reach from inside the pockets, and it adjusts at the waist. It's got 2 pockets here down by the waist, and that's about it. Pretty simple. I really love this jacket, and I will wear it on my next thru hikes or any hikes, short or long. Next, I'll talk about some rain stuff. This is a Patagonia Storm Racer, and I got it in a men's small. The main reason being the color of the jacket. The second reason being I don't like the way Patagonia makes their women's clothing, like especially their tops, like jackets, shirts, and sweaters. They make them kind of like with this almost kind of like an hourglass figure type shape, which I don't like. I like more straight. Like, I like a slim fit but straight. So I'll just show you real quick, I guess. I haven't washed this jacket since I bought it, and I had it every single day of the trail since day 1. Yeah, it comes down pretty long. It's got 1 pocket here. The arms, because it's a men's look, it covers my whole hand, which I love. You want that as a rain jacket, I think. The texture is really nice too. So just like the texture on the Mont Bell, it's very similar to it actually. It's super comfortable to wear, even if you're just wearing it on, like, when it's touching your skin, if you're not wearing a puffy or a long sleeve shirt. So yeah, I love this jacket. I think I need to wash it though. It smells terrible. Kind of like death. So the next thing on my kind of rain setup are these pants. These are Patagonia Houdini pants. It's a women's small. These aren't 100% waterproof, so it's not really a rain pant, I guess. But it does repel water pretty good, and it dries like super quick. So the main reason why I use them is for just to keep warm and to kind of resist the elements, I guess. I had these pants for most of the trail, pretty much, entering the Sierra and then all the way to Canada. I mentioned in my What's in My Pack video about how I love these buttons here at the bottom of the leg. You can just snap them apart pretty easily and be able to get in them and out of them pretty quick. It has an adjustable cord at the waist. Overall, just a solid piece to have. Super light option. I think they weigh like 3-something ounces. And they compress really small. Just for demonstration purposes, this was my pop on the trail. It's a Snow Peak 600 milliliters, and you could literally fit them in here, which is pretty insane. I guess the only downside was that this style comes up your waist pretty high. So when I was wearing my Hyperlight backpack, which has a hip belt, the zipper here, because it does have a pocket zipper only on one side, it would kind of rub up against the hip belt and it would kind of irritate that area. So I would just leave it open, or I would just kind of tuck the pants down a little bit or fold them. A good bonus to having pants for the Sierra, I found that it was pretty convenient to slip on pants right before glissading, because a lot of the times if you're new to glissading or if you don't really know how to glissade properly, you can really get scraped by the snow/ice. I normally don't like glissading, so I avoid it as much as possible. Alright, next, my sock system. So I had 2 pairs of socks on the trail. So these are Injinji liners, and they're super thin, very durable in my opinion, and they separate your toes because it's a toe sock. So I don't know about you, but my toes tend to be kind of squashed together from years and years of wearing, you know, like pointy shoes and things like that. It hasn't been till recently, like these past couple years or 3 years, that I've started to wear a more minimal, wide toe box type shoe. And wearing stuff like this helps to separate your toes. And then over that, I would wear my sock. And these are actually not hiking socks. Technically, they're a running sock by Darn Tough. It's their Cool Max running sock. I prefer them over hiking socks because they dry quicker. They're also more flexible too. Another thing that I really like about this sock is the toe area and the heel area have extra cushion than the middle band area here. That helps to kind of reduce impact when you're walking. It's enough to kind of notice and to make a difference in the long run. So yeah, love these socks. And then another cool thing about Darn Tough is whenever your sock is falling apart or you want to switch out to a new sock, you can literally just exchange your old sock for a new sock. So that's pretty cool about them if you're trying to decide on which socks to bring on the trail. So this is my sock system, and I basically have 2 sets of it. That way I can always try to keep one clean. Next, the shoes that I wore on the trail. So I basically wore Ultras for most of the trail. I finished the trail wearing these, and these are the Ultra Lone Peaks 2.5. I really love these shoes and Ultra in general because they make really wide toe box shoe. They also make a minimal shoe, so the idea behind that is to encourage proper form and kind of like a barefoot form, rather than giving you all this support in your heel and your ankle, kind of furthering, like, if you do have a weak calf or a weak arch, it kind of furthers that. Whereas the theory behind this one is it would strengthen it. The downside is if you don't gradually train in shoes like this, or just barefoot walking or barefoot running prior to doing a really long hike, you might have issues. You might have issues. And sorry, my camera just died. I'm actually gonna make a video just talking about the shoes that I wore on the trail and like any shoe related injuries. That's on my list, so stay tuned for that. Next, a hat. This isn't the hat that I wore on the trail. I actually can't find my hat that I wore on the trail, which I'm really sad about. Sunglasses. One tip on sunglasses is you don't really want to start out with a really expensive pair because most likely they will get lost or break or scratch. So just bring something inexpensive from like a gas station or something like that. I think I went through 3 or 4 pairs on the trail. Beanie. I had a beanie for most of the trail. I did ditch it going into Washington though, because like I said earlier, I wanted to shed as much weight as possible. And I figured if my head really got cold, I could just put my hoodie on. It wasn't an issue. It's just one less thing to worry about. And also just like wearing any kind of thing on your head. So if you're just wearing this, also provides warmth, but if anything, this is more breathable. That's another thing, like a lot of the reasoning behind things that I decided to keep was about basically what's really going to be useful to me while hiking, because you're hiking for most of the day. So if you're not really using it while you're actively hiking, you should probably reconsider, is that particular thing worth it? Gloves. I had gloves for most of the trail. They were pretty good. It did get pretty cold sometimes, and your hands get really cold, especially when you're in the Sierra. This year in particular, we had crazy amount of snow and glissading and constantly being in contact with the snow. It was good to have gloves for me, but I also ditched them going into Washington. And it was fine until maybe like the last 3 days when we got hit with like a snow slash sleet slash freezing rain storm, but you just kind of make it work. You can wear socks, you can just put your hands in your pockets. All right, so now I want to show you some other things that I wore on the trail depending on the different section of trail. So I guess I'll start with different puffies. I started out with this one. It's a Patagonia Nano Air. I did sit pretty early on in the desert. It doesn't breathe as well, and it doesn't compress in your backpack well at all. And then I got this one. One of the main reasons for getting this one is because it compresses a lot better than the Nano Air, but it keeps the same amount of warmth. Overall, a solid jacket. It is on the heavier side, and I really felt like I needed a lighter piece for what I was doing out there because it doesn't breathe as well as my Montbell. Next, some other base layers I had on the trail. So this one's a Mountain Hardwear kind of base layer thing. Actually, this was my hiking shirt starting out, but again, I picked up that desert shirt on day 3 of the trail because I didn't like the way this felt. It's very saggy. It's like just a super thin synthetic material, and I just kind of wanted a desert shirt, so I got rid of that pretty early on. So the other base layer is this, and I already had this in my regular life, so I figured I might as well bring it to act as my base layer basically for the whole trail, but it just turned out to be way too warm. I think it's like basically a ski thermal. So the reason why I brought it and why I didn't want to get a new base layer is because I figured I'm already a really cold, like I get cold really easily, so this would be perfect while sleeping and hiking on those really cold days. But it turned out to be just too warm, and once you're out there on the trail for long enough, your body kind of adapts and gets better at circulating and just regulating body temperature. So I got rid of it as soon as I picked up the Montbell lightweight base layer shirt in Lone Pine. Next, a couple base layer pants. So this one I started out the trail with, and this is kind of ridiculous, but it's a fleece material. Super cozy to sleep at night, but completely overkill for what I was doing. I mean, it's just like almost impossible to hike with this for long periods of time without completely overheating. You could barely kind of compress them. So I got rid of them pretty early on in the desert. These pants were actually my sister's college running leggings that she had for winter, and I got them shipped to me going into the Sierra. So I actually had these plus the Patagonia Houdini. I think I could have gone without these and just had those other pants, but I feared that I would be really cold at night or just hiking out in the mornings, and that those other pants wouldn't keep me warm enough. But I think I was wrong with that. I think I would have been fine with those other pants. So yeah, I wouldn't really recommend carrying 2 pairs of pants for any stretch of the trail. Another thing I had early on were sleeping socks, and it was very comfortable and pretty convenient at the time. And because my feet tend to run cold, like just my overall body, I'm just cold. But like I said, your body does get used to being out there in the elements for so long that your body will naturally adapt eventually. So I did get rid of them. Next are gaiters. In the desert, I wore these gaiters and then got rid of them before entering the Sierra. I would say that they're pretty helpful in minimizing the amount of little rocks or just debris in general that gets inside your shoes, but it does not completely stop things from getting in there. So they worked pretty well, I think, but I didn't have them for NorCal, Oregon, and Washington. The higher you get up on the trail, the overall dirt just changes and it gets thinner, and then also your feet and your skin just hardens up a little bit more, and that a few rocks here and there throughout the day don't really bother you as much as they do at the very beginning. So it wasn't really worth it for me to have them for the whole trail. Next, I had a buff. It honestly mostly served as my pillow liner, but I just didn't really see the need for it, you know, going forward all the way to Canada, and that's why I got rid of it. All right, guys, well, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions about any of the clothing pieces here, just leave it in the comments and I'll try to answer it as fast as I can. Check out the links below if you're interested in any of these items. I'll try to find most of the links for them. I am planning on doing that shoe video pretty soon, so stay tuned for that if you're interested. Yeah, thank you so much for watching all my trail videos and my gear videos. If you haven't subscribed, feel free to subscribe now if you want to see more of what I have to say. So yeah, that's it. Bye.
All right.
Wow, she's doing.
She's getting tossed around.
She's gonna